So we are back with after putting up two parts of Katawa Shoujo, as I mentioned, in case you guys are new or maybe you might have missed it. Yes, I did kind of start it, but I only put up two parts for right now because I still have this VN to get through. But I will still be doing Katawa Shoujo. It's just be a little bit slow to get to, but be patient. They will come. Those of you that want to see more of that. But I can't completely forget about this too, because there's people that you know. So with that, we are back with Miku's route, and as I said, it should be coming to an end at some point. But things have been kind of interesting since I last played here. So I kind of have to get back up to speed, when you kind of, I wouldn't say take a break from it, but when you're like a few days out or the last time you played it, you have to kind of refresh your memory a little bit to remember what happened last. But, uh, so see where it's going to go for now. But apparently it's still night from what I can tell, though. I was supposed to be awakened by someone doing their best to shake me. Ah, okay. Physically shake me, that is. Router was leaning over me and nudging my shoulder. What? It's your turn now. How long have I slept? About an hour. Only an hour? Stay on your watch. I'm already dozing off. Yeah, an infinite power source wouldn't hurt for our router. Although it wouldn't hurt for me, too. Router. Is this guy like some type of, I don't know, device you plug in to the wall and then you have your internet coming from? I don't know, because they went from calling this guy electronic to calling him a different name. And now that I'm thinking about the name, it's like, you could come up with another name for this guy besides what you already called him. It's like, I guess if that didn't tell you that this guy was no more than a secondary character, I don't know what does. Because it's like, you just come up with the most plain name for. Well, I wouldn't say plain, just kind of an out of left field type of name. It's like, here, uh, I don't know what we were doing today. Let's just come up with this name. Okay, why? I don't no real reason. Let's just go with it. Okay. I don't know. Because that's the only thing, the way it's spelled and everything. That's exactly how you spell the word router when it comes to an internet device. It's like, I don't know. Although, there's also another name for it that's called a modem or something. Some people call it that, but it's technically a router. But there's some varies with certain ones because, like, some of them only come with Wi-Fi, but there's some like mine which also has Wi-Fi, but also has ports for Ethernet cords. So somebody like myself, I kind of prefer, even though like with my phone, I prefer to use my phone with when it comes to Wi-Fi, but with consoles and computers, I definitely prefer to stay connected with an Ethernet. For whatever reason, files transfer faster, games load quicker. It's just something that I noticed anyway. Especially when you play games online. Something that I've noticed compared to playing games when you're on Wi-Fi. There's usually like a slight delay, a little bit, little lag here or there. I don't know. It's just something I noticed. I rose with considerable effort, climbed over Lena and Masha, who slept with their arms around each other, and jumped down to the floor. Although, obviously Wi Fi has come a long way. Obviously, it's a lot faster than it used to be, but still, it still cannot beat a plugged in Ethernet cord because you're constantly connected when you are. Uh, that's the thing. Like, when I use Wi Fi a few times, even in the past, like, on occasion, you have to unplug your modem once in a while, right? Because it usually acts a little bit screwy. Anytime I use the Ethernet cord, whether it's on the PlayStation or the Xbox, it's the same difference. It's like, okay, I rarely ever get like a lag where I have to unplug the wire for like a few seconds or whatever it is. Then you got to plug it back in. If I'm using a Wi Fi, it'll do that periodically every so often, though. With the Ethernet, like, it's like if it does happen, it's usually like once in a blue moon. So it's like very rare. Do I experience anything like that? The room seemed slightly brighter. The morning's coming. Yeah, Ryder tried to get to my place, but I grabbed him by the collar, threw him down on the floor, gave him a blanket and a pillow. So you can, and you cannot. Come to think of it, why can't he? Anyway, it's not that important now. I took the chair, dragged it to the door. I took the chair, I should say, sat down and started to wait. Anticipation seemed to be the best word to describe what I was feeling. Any moment now, the door would burst open and a maniac would break into the room, or the last residents of this camp would disappear, or I would disappear. In any case, something would happen. I deeply felt that. Ryder was snoring his head off, the girls were sleeping securely, and I was starting to doze off too. I clenched the pipe harder. The feeling of cold metal against my bare skin somehow brought me back to my senses. I must not sleep. I'm their only hope now, and my own too. But it's hard to resist. Just a couple of minutes. Okay. My eyes seem to have a life of their own. Okay. Opening and closing spontaneously as my mind wandered. How come you left it out there? That's definitely some missing translation on that there. A rustling came from behind the door. No, I must have imagined that. It's just those damn grasshoppers. What are they still up to? Maybe it's still the grasshoppers to blame. They fell upon the camp like a swarm of locusts and devoured everybody. Really? So it begas. Is this being gonna turn out to be Attack of the Killer Grasshoppers? I don't know. Sounds like some cheesy I don't know, one of those movies from like the 70s. I can't. It's like a one of them old fashioned type horror movies where it's like they're not really scary, but it's like whoever came up with the concept of having like I don't know if you guys ever seen a couple of Stephen King movies, right? His have always had some weird way, I don't know, the movies I've seen with him. It's like with his anyway. It's like okay, how did you come up with this concept for to use? It's like I don't know, but I've seen some other bizarre ones too, like Attack of the Killer Rabbits. Yeah, there was something like that years ago. I don't remember like maybe it was a movie from like the early 80s. I don't even know. But I saw something like one time when I was like a kid. Maybe it's like 93 or 94. I had a bit only like, I don't know, maybe about 7 or 8 at the time. I don't even remember, but I all I remember was just like giant rabbits and yeah, but there was something that obviously caused them to basically grow to a certain size. And all I kept thinking as I got older is like, who came up with this corny ass idea? It's like for a movie. It's like, but just there's something about them though that makes you watch. As corny as they might seem like on paper, for whatever reason, people watched it. It's like weird. Um, Jaws, the movie Jaws, like the idea, even though we know that sharks in real life, as far as I'm aware, although I wouldn't test it anyway, I'm just the type that just wouldn't. Apparently, they don't normally want to attack humans. Uh, but there's usually kind of a stereotype usually associated with like sharks, right? But the but they took the concept of it anyway, and then that's how they created a movie out of it to use the idea anyway. It's like okay, you go swimming and you got to worry about this giant fish basically coming up and biting you. So I don't know. Then I've seen other ones too, like ones that have to do with like piranhas and like I don't know. Like I said, some really bizarre like movies out there I've seen. Strange concepts. A disgusting storm was brewing in my head. Their long legs, their wings, a huge head, and the eyes filled with darkness. Eyes reflecting the abyss. Somebody once asked me, is like, who came up with the concept of having like zombies in like movies and games? That is a good question. I really don't know. The idea of dead people basically coming back to life in some form to eat people. I have no idea. Uh, It is interesting, like because there's movie obviously where all the where Resident Evil and all that came from. You have to go all the way back to the original Night of the Living Dead. That's kind of where the black and white version from the 70s. That's kind of where they got it from. But still, if you go all the way back there, it's like, how did they come up with that? It's like, you know what? Here's an idea. What we're gonna do? We're gonna make a movie about dead people coming back to life, and there's no concept of, because in that movie, the original anyway, Night of the Living Dead, it wasn't really explained how they even. Well, I think it was. Maybe it's been forever since I've seen it, but all I remember was like these people show up to a cemetery in a grave. You got people walking around. Next thing you know, they turn out to be zombies and they just bite the guy. And yeah, and then it was that. That was pretty much it. Just look grasshopper in the eye, you'll never be the same again. Although I guess at least in the Resident Evil games in the movie, at least they kind of made sense what they tried to use. Okay, if we're gonna use zombies, okay, we need something that's like, okay, what brought them to life though? Because the idea anyway of dead people being alive is usually not really a real thing. So it's like, okay, what could we do to create this? So somebody came up with the idea. It's like, you know what, we need the T virus or some type of thing to kind of get it started. Okay, it's like, I don't know. So I guess with that, it kind of makes sense, because originally they weren't really meant to fight. They weren't prepared for like zombies. The members of Stars were there to go after like criminals. That's because they were basically a special forces type of group. But obviously they came across something that they weren't really prepared for. That had to do with the undead. Running away, and they are apt to be. There are thousands of them, millions. Desperately jumping over the pits and gullies, climbing hills and rocks. They don't care. They've got wings. Yeah, these filthy wings that make that nasty rattle. Probably they wouldn't need their teeth anyway. They just have to flap these horrible wings faster and faster, summoning the sonic wave of the apocalypse. Okay. No. Or maybe that's where it came from too, you know. But that's the thing. Obviously, maybe not all of you, everybody out there might not necessarily be religious. I'm not either. But I'm pretty positive, even if some people who don't know the Bible, or at least even people who might, there's nothing in the Bible that indicates anything about dead people basically coming back to life. As far as I'm aware, there are things that mentions about like I don't know, what is it? The four horsemen of the apocalypse. But those usually have to do with like um, I forget now. It's like they're supposed to mean something rather than actually being like some type of monster or they're supposed to represent something. So the idea anyway, but people use that term when they put it in video games. Sometimes it's like the apocalypse. It's like okay, but there's nothing that I've ever heard anyway that has anything to do with like dead people coming back to life. So it's like maybe it's somewhere I overlooked. I have no idea, but that's funny though. And like I said, I'm no religious person by any means, and I've never even heard of that because, like I said, I've heard different things when I was little. When my folks used to go to church all the time. We don't do that anymore. But at the time, though, when we were going, I don't ever recall the preacher or whoever, talk about any of that kind of stuff. So I don't know. It was never mentioned. He talked about other stuff, but nothing like that, though. Please stop it, somebody. And the apocalypse basically more or less has to do with war of some kind. I just don't know what type of war, but it usually has to do with that somewhat. I was woken by a sharp pain in the back of my head. Opening my eyes, I realized that I was lying sprawled on the floor. It looks what looks that I fell asleep and slipped off my chair. I'm not really sure about this word here. Okay. It was 9 o'clock. Well, at least it's daytime because, boy, that last part, I gotta say, they were in the dark for a little bit. Damn it, it looks like I was sleeping for 5 hours straight. I wish I could get that kind of sleep sometimes. Anything could have happened. Horrified, I patted myself down and everything seemed to be in its place. That was close. I shook our squad awake. My turn already? You sleep too much, while I've been sitting here all night long. Sure, that was a lie, but telling them that I spent the night running for my life for the grasshoppers definitely wasn't an option. So he must have been dreaming these things. I don't know. I'm sorry. Router hung his head. Don't worry about it. Ah, I'm hungry as well. I need to get back in a routine with this character because, like I said, starting another BN, and some of you guys might not know that I also do have a secondary channel. Although I don't use it as much as I do this one, but I still use it on occasion. So it's like you have to kind of like, okay, get back into this character here. Masha stretched out and gave me a cute smile. And I guess we're going back to Masha again. What happened to Miku the other night? Time that I played. Like, are we going back in reverse here? Or is he still hasn't figured out that this is Miku? Well, it's kind of both, right? I don't know. Miku Masha. And why are you all here? Don't you remember anything? Nope. What's the matter? Everyone's going, said Alyssa gloomily. Wow. So everybody's having a sad expression. Miku's expression looks more like a seductive kind of stare. One subscriber already mentioned about this look of hers. It's like, yeah, looking at it now, it does look like she's kind of giving more like a wink. It says, you want to get it on kind of thing. I don't know. Uh, but whatever. Say what? Everyone's gone, vanished in the thin air. Masha glanced out a window and said nothing. Seems like she remembered now. Well, getting something to eat is indeed a fine idea. Nobody was going to object. It's not like I was in the mood to eat, same as everyone else, but ultimately everyone knew that we had to keep ourselves running. Okay? Soon enough, we were sitting in the canteen, quietly digging into whatever we could find. Want me to cook something? Inquired Masha quietly. Let's wait for lunch. For now, it's fine. She gave me a disappointed look. Okay, so what are we gonna do now? I should say. We have to get out of here. But the police. We have to get out of here. I repeated stubbornly. Okay, but where are you going exactly? But how? Bus. Okay. It's highly unlikely that one will come. It doesn't run too often. At least there should be a timetable somewhere around here. I try to remember if I've ever seen the bus map or its timetable somewhere. Probably not. So, more or less, he forgot he even came to this camp. Is that it? So, after the part when they're back there looking for shirts and he went alone, is that what happened? The whole game just basically changed its plot and just made this guy forget who he ever was. And then all these characters have completely different names than who they were previously. That's interesting on that. Now it makes me curious at how Eula's route is going to go. My guess is obviously it's going to be the complete opposite of what I'm doing here with Miku, but because she obviously has to do with why he's there. But still, I don't know. This is kind of interesting, I gotta say. Unless if I'm reading into this wrong, I don't know. Then we'll go on foot. Anything's better than staying here. But it's a long way to. Well, we might hitch a lift. Here? In the middle of nowhere? I doubt that. Oh, stop with that drama. Although, thinking about it, it's exactly the right time for drama. I'm not being dramatic, but that's it. End of story. What are we gonna say when we reach the city? We'll tell them the truth. We came to shoot a movie, and then what movie? Okay, stop fooling around, will you? I'm guessing he's the only one that realizes that they did some type of movie. Uh, I do recall them when the next day kind of came when I said that it seemed like the story kind of seemed like they sped up these two's relationship a little bit. It did see they were doing something. Maybe it was some type of acting, but I thought maybe they were just. I was a little bit confused of what exactly happened back there because we never did solve the Shirk part problem this time around compared to the other routes that I've done. So it's like, because usually it's like, I don't know, with everybody else, he makes his way back to camp at some point. But with this one, it's like, since he went by himself, it's like everything changed uh, around him. So it's kind of like everything is a little bit different. So I don't know. And now we're getting a little bit of a different kind of take here. It's like these characters, they're saying they don't recall doing any kind of movie. I don't know. Even if it was kind of funny yesterday, although it wasn't. You can stop it now. I don't get you. Oh, you're still going to keep on pretending that you came here not to shoot a movie, but to play to role play as a pioneer. I don't understand a thing. Unless the swept her surprised gaze across everyone. But we are pioneers. What pioneers, for God's sake? Damn, that's pretty snappy there, Miku, I gotta say. But that seems more like your personality, I would say. A little bit. Mashu, who kept silent so far, butted in. It's the 21st century out there. You right, pioneers. 20. First, looks like we're indeed in a deep mess. So you're all gonna say that you are, we are normal pioneers who just came here on vacation for a week or so. Yeah, that is the idea. At least that's how it was originally. A heavy silence followed. Boom. Yes. I cast a look at Masha. It looks like she doesn't know how to react either. I signaled to her, pointing at the door. Excuse me, for a second. Have you gone outside? I asked. What do you think? Well, she adopted the pose of the ancient Greek thinker. It looks like they genuinely believe that, and some folks, named Semyon and Miku, were on our shoes until yesterday. Some? Well, I guess you're more familiar with them than I am. Oh, come on. I interrupted her. Could you come up with a more feasible theory? I still have absolutely no theories at all. I no longer know what to think. Me neither. But anyway, all hell is breaking loose here, even without taking pioneers into account. Murders, dozens of people disappearing without a trace. That ought to be our top priority now. I look closely at Masha. I wonder how she can keep such a cool head under these circumstances. So, sure, I'm also trying to keep calm, but that means... What? Let's leave this issue for later. But at least a wild guess. I guess it's somehow connected to the disappearance. It's safe to assume that one, or even two or three, humans couldn't deal with so many people at once. Agreed. It might be that this phenomenon somehow affected them. Might be. Anyway, it's easy to believe in that than, for example, that we're in a parallel reality or something. By now I'm willing to believe in anything. Then let's stick to this theory for now. The whole idea is that your name is call me there, Semyon, since you don't have a name anymore. Obviously, there's something going on here that this guy is not getting. And the story is definitely making it come off that way because, to have somebody would just name this, it's like, I don't know, they're telling you, it's the game's way of telling you something is off here at this whole thing, right? I don't know. Okay. Let's go. You go ahead, I'll be back in a minute. It's dangerous to be all alone. Seriously, what's so dangerous? Broad daylight, and everyone's around here. Okay. She gave me a faint smile and headed back to the canteen. I will say though, while I am kind of enjoying the route, I am uh it does seem like when it comes, I'm just talking Miku and Semyon here. It does feel a little bit like the relationship got put on the back burner a little bit because obviously, since you got so many other things kind of going on here, he they're trying to figure out what's going on. The plot's kind of it's kind of going a little bit all over the place. I have to be honest. Wow, it's like I said, it's like I'm enjoying this, but at the same time, there's things about it that's kind of I don't know. It's hard to describe what I'm thinking like half the time when I'm reading what I'm trying to picture here because it's like I'm trying to see where this relationship is going, but at the same time you have all this other stuff that's kind of like it seems like that's kind of what's took front center a little bit, and I'd like to see them kind of get back a little bit to even this relationship out to see where this is all going to go. But obviously, like I said, since this is the first time for me doing her route anyway, it's definitely the most unique out of all the ones that I've done. So it's I guess that could be. I always say that can sometimes be a good thing or a bad thing. I guess depending on how you look at it. Uh, I don't know. But still, her behavior is also quite odd. It looks like the last few days changed everything and everyone, including Basha. Yesterday, shock, fear, and troubling. Today, cold and sensible reasoning. Damn, she's even more self-assured than me. Could it just be a good sleep? No, there is something wrong with her, too. Sure, she doesn't think that she's a pioneer like everyone else does, but still. If something has happened to them, then maybe it also happened to me. No, it can't be. Everything seems to be fine. I've double checked my body and found no abnormalities. You know what? I'm gonna blame the apple. You know the part where he's supposed to bite or not bite it? We didn't bite it. Maybe if we would have bit that damn apple. But then again, I would be on her thing right now because not taking the apple or whatever it was is has to do with Miku. You're not supposed to. So it's kind of like, I wonder if biting into it would actually knock some sense into him. I don't know. It just made me think of it for some reason. But that apple really only has significance with Eula, so it's kind of interesting on that. But the real mystery, obviously, is when he went to look for Shirk. That's where everything changed at, as opposed to an apple. Because it's like, Miku didn't even go with him. Like, he just went alone. And I thought maybe the way that was going to play out, I thought maybe he was going to bump into her or she was just going to show up somehow. That didn't happen. All of a sudden, like, it just kind of went from one thing to the next. And we were on the bus. I can't remember how it all played out, but yeah. And then my mind was kind of like, what just happened? Because that's usually the first reaction to something, you're coming into something like that. It's like all of a sudden the scene changes and like, we didn't even solve the Shirk problems. Like, because if you notice, I haven't seen him. They have not showed him since he disappeared. So that's interesting on that. And then we also have the mystery that has to do with Slavia. I'm still not sure whether or not she's dead or not. So that's kind of interesting on that. But according to them, that was her. They were disfigured. I have no idea. I got up and was about to return to the canteen when suddenly I heard a tiny voice from behind my back. Oh boy. As if somebody was calling for me. Oh. I got down from the porch and took a few steps towards the voice. Okay. Somebody was peering at me from behind a tree. Okay. Ooh. That looks like Ulyana. That is creepy as shit. I don't know about this. You look scary as shit. And we have not seen this character since, it was Ulyana. I just said that before I even had to read this, but I don't know. Just seeing her like this, it's like, are you a zombie all of a sudden? It's like, not really sure what to think here. No, not Ulyana, but something that looked like her. Well, it sort of resembled her. The hair, anyway. Maybe it's Eula, but a scarier look of her. I don't know. Those are my tracks. Well, I certainly reacted to this scene, so it's like it caught me off guard a little bit here. Half of her face was torn and hanging down in shreds. Her grinning jaw trembled nervously as if in laughter. A bloodshot eye hanging half out of its socket. Oh boy, suddenly swiveled its pupil to look at me. After me just talking about zombies and shit, all of a sudden we get this. It's like, did I cause this to happen? It's like, maybe I should learn how not to talk about certain things. Bible stuff or whatever. I don't know, because then now we get this. I doubt it has anything to do with this, but I gotta say, this is what I mean. It's like there's one thing after another. It's like, okay, how is this gonna get explained now? I have no idea. But I'm reading this as it goes, as I said. I stopped breathing. It felt like I was gonna die right now due to the shock. Kenyan. And, well, you're called Ulyana, and you are saying Senyan here. But you look creepy. I don't know. The thing that seemed to be Ulyana was calling to me. It was, but I did not voice her the way I should have voiced her. My legs began to give out. And I tried hard not to collapse, tried to scream, tried to run away. But my consciousness had already left a body that now was just a ragdoll, even by the will of an invisible puppet master. Good lord. One more second and... Hey. I instinctively turned towards the word, caught sight of Masha standing on the porch, and then instantly looked back to Ulyana. But she was gone. Masha seemed to notice the deathly pallor upon my face and jumped over to me in a blink of an eye. Wow, that certainly caught me off guard, that's for sure. What? What happened? I just saw Ulyana out there. I pointed my finger towards the tree. Sure, the sight of the butchered Slavia was indeed gruesome. I still want proof that was her, though, man. I don't know. Kill her off, my woman. How does that go? No, I'm just kidding. Oh well. But at least she was dead and not walking around in broad daylight with her face torn apart, and she wasn't calling me by name, even if the name wasn't my own. I don't know. The way this story is going, who knows anymore where this thing is going anymore. The last ounces of my strength deserted me, and I collapsed to my knees. What? Where? Masha was shaking me by the shoulders. It wasn't her, that was, I don't know. Get a hold of yourself. I felt her round arms slap hit me in the face and gave Masha a questioning look. My cheek burned, but I slowly started to regain my composure. Ayana was there with her face. Basically, it was a zombie. Yeah, zombie Ulyana. That's the most rational explanation I could give. Well, she looked at me dumbfounded. That'd probably be my kind of expression, too. Like, what? Are you seeing shit now? I don't know. Anything could happen here. Good point. If you'd seen her yourself. Thank God I didn't. Come on, I'll get you some water. I described my encounter with that creature in detail to everyone. I can tell you one thing. Science can't explain whatever's going on here at the moment. Science. It's outrageous devilry happening here. Behind the Satan. I wish we had a church nearby to light a candle. Good lord. Alyssa does not strike me as a type that would be religious at all. Like, I could picture her with be one of those type of girls that would wear a choker. Because she's already, she's basically the punk rebel of the game anyway. So it's the idea of her even just mentioning this here, I wish we had a church nearby. That doesn't sound like the Alyssa I know. I don't know. Sounds like someone else entirely a little bit. Oh no. Lena said nothing, resorted to quiet sobbing. I'd almost completely recovered and now I was able to think straight. Now it's perfectly clear that we have to get out of here. Well, I'm not a real scientist, let alone a paranormalist. But if I recall correctly, all these demons and spirits are bound to a certain place, therefore, it'd be get away from this place. Now that's an excellent solution. Masha agreed skeptically. I agree. I exclaimed, ignoring her. But they still haven't figured out where the hell they're gonna go. They keep saying they're gonna go somewhere, but they haven't really explained that part, have they? Yeah, Lena just gave a barely noticeable nod. Till it's all settled, I slammed my fist on the table and searched my feet. Hold on. It's not like we all agreed on that. Why would we hesitate? I seriously wouldn't want a second encounter with a thing like that. Where would we go? Do you even realize how long it would take to reach the city on foot? Damn it, do you really think that nobody ever rides that road? A car, a bus, whatever? We'll get something eventually. I wouldn't be so sure. So you think that it's better to stay here? Well, I didn't say that. It's... Whoa! Man, after I saw that back there, Lena, I just walked over to your face, after the image you gave me, Ulyana, and you're giving me this kind of eyes, man. What's going on with this game? Are you trying to deliberately scare me, game? I mean, it's kind of working a little bit. I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. I'm just messing with you guys, but still, I don't know. I'm reacting to all these crazy faces, and I gotta say, Lita's. I already said already that she's got one of the creepiest faces when there's certain faces that she makes. The other one that I noticed was, who was it? Was it, maybe it was Miku, but I'm not really sure. Yeah, it was. There was another face she made that I said looked at really like. I said looked at real sinister like. And it made Alyssa look like hers just paled in comparison. Cause like I got used to hers, and I didn't really do anything after a while. Uh, Here, Lita's making all these weird faces. And it's like I'm not really sure what to think about you. It's like, could you imagine this face? Like you in the dark, and all of a sudden these are the eyes that you see. Good lord, that'd be creepy as hell. I don't know, just something that came to mind. It's scary here, especially at night. I'd imagine these eyes are scary. Lita whispered quietly. That still doesn't mean that we have to go anywhere, said Masha out loud. I gave her a narrow look. No, something has surely changed in her. Perhaps I should have a gentle talk with her about it. Or perhaps I shouldn't. Maybe she's also. Okay, let's take a vote. I said that in quite a competent tone, yet I still have my doubts. What if Masha's right? Perhaps we should be running around aimlessly. On the other hand, I have no idea what awaits us beyond the gates at this point, at this camp. On the other hand, it's really all hell breaking loose here. Okay. She shrugged. And still, I won't stand for another minute here. Leaving. Staying. Let's try it. Maybe we'll indeed get lucky and catch a bus ride. Leaving? Everyone turned their eyes towards Lena. Thank you for going back to normal. I don't know how much longer I can keep looking at those eyes, man. Man, I don't want to stay here. I'd imagine not. If I could keep you from making faces like that, that would be better for me. I don't know. Seems like my decision wasn't going to affect the outcome anyway. So let's get going. Well, I sprang to my feet. Everyone else remained seated with their heads down. Since we decided... Masha got up slowly and looked at me. What about ourselves? Asked Alyssa awkwardly. You really think we should care now? Mumbled rather gloomily. Well, you're probably right. Well, in my case, my stuff has already vanished somewhere. In a few minutes, we were standing at the bus stop. So, things are kind of moving along a little bit here, but I should call it apart a little bit because I'm not exactly sure where it's going to go. But A lot happened back there, but me doing a little bit of rambling as talking as too much as usual is probably what's making these parts a little bit too long. But I would say you guys could pick and choose which parts you guys want to see, or if you haven't seen all the way, but or if it's been a while for some of you, even if you have played the route. Because I always say sometimes you come back to something, it's like, oh, okay, this part is coming back to me a little bit. This is all blind to me, so it's kind of like so this I'm just kind of coming into it the first time. So other than that, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it either way. Have a good one.